With President Joe Biden out of the race, the names on the ballot in November will now be different. Nearly 14.5 million Democrats voted for Biden in the primaries earlier this year. 131,000 of those votes made right here in Kentucky. Secretary of State Michael Adams told Fox 56 this week that the switch has little impact on Kentucky ballots in the general election. He said although Biden filed for the primary, presidential filing for the general election isn't until September, and that is decided by whoever is formally nominated at the Democratic National Convention next month.
We don't print the ballots until we have relevant information, and that allows the two parties to certify their choices at their conventions. It also allows independents to file.
Now, while the change doesn't appear to pose any problems for the ballot process, it does call into question the process that the DNC has used to get to where we are today. Representative Aull, I'll go ahead and start with you here. Did you vote for President Biden in the primary in May?
Well, absolutely. I was proud to. I want to take a few minutes here to step back. You know, President Biden has been one of the most consequential presidents of my lifetime. And his record of public service for the last 50 years in our country is unmatched. And so, you know, I think President Biden will go down in history as one of our most effective bipartisan presidents. And I think he will go down in history for stepping away from power when he thought it was best. Much like George Washington did. We're a country not of kings, but of public servants. And I truly respect his decision to step and walk away from power.
Now, that aside, do you feel like your vote counted whenever you cast that vote back in May?
Yeah, I think it counted because it was a part of the primary process. But just as the Secretary of State just stated, that is for the primary. The general, we have plenty of time. The process is still the same. But the Republican National Convention, the Democrat National Convention, you have your roll call of delegates. Your delegates represent your parties, and they officially select the nominees at the convention. And we'll have the same process that we would have always had in place.
Representative Bray, some Republicans have said that installing a candidate without the people's vote is undemocratic. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can just look at President Biden's statements leading up to his decision not to run. He wanted to run. There was a smear campaign put on from political insiders in D.C. You know, they went to Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. They all went to him several different times trying to get him to reevaluate, although he'd made it clear he was running. And so effectively what's happened is you've got a handful of D.C. insiders who've decided that Biden wasn't going to win the election, and so we've got to install somebody else now. And so instead of the votes of 14 million Americans or 130,000 Kentuckians being abided by, we're just going to have some process to handpick our preferred political candidate of the moment.
Representative Aull, do you see it that way?
No, not at all. I mean, the process is still the same that it was prior to the president's announcement to now. And so the delegates at the Democrat National Convention will decide who should be our nominee. And so it's an open process. Other people could still get in the race right now, today, if they so choose. So no, I do not see it that way at all.
Should Democrats have rallied so quickly around Vice President Harris? Should there have been a way to allow some competition between now and the convention a month from now for us to look at other options?
Well, I think people are rallying around the Vice President because they're excited about her. They're excited about her candidacy. It sets up a really interesting contrast with the other nominee. You've got a prosecutor versus a felon. And so that's something that we're going to lean into over the next 3 months because you have two people with very different public service records. And so I think that people have chosen to go all in with the Vice President because they believe in her and they believe in her message.
Could you ever see this occurring in the RNC? Again, this is, legally speaking, appears to be above board, but we're in uncharted waters here. Is it reassuring or concerning that the law allows a process for a candidate in either party to be swapped out so late?
I don't think this would happen within the Republican Party because, you know, there's no precedent for it. You know, Chad was talking about kind of the contrast between a prosecutor and a felon. And for the record, you know, we've got a prosecutor who nobody has ever voted for president. She had dropped out before the Iowa caucuses. We've got somebody a prosecutor that wants to defund the police, that wants to defund ICE, wants to allow illegal immigration unfettered, across the border, wants to abolish private insurance plans, wants to do all of these super left-wing things.
Just a few more seconds left.
Things that no American has supported before. That's why she had to drop out in Iowa.
She was on the ballot with the president last time. 74 million people voted for that ticket, which included her, which was a record. So they know her, they voted for her, and they're going to vote for her again this fall.
All right, gentlemen, thanks. We're unfortunately out of time. We'll be right back with Point of Order.